Your growth has to be your number one priority, and the only way you grow is by taking actions. And we label those actions prospecting, but whether it's recruiting or whether it's teleprospecting or whether it's canvassing, they're all actions. And one of the things that I see constantly, the biggest mistake is that somehow an old prospect or an old recruit is a bad recruit. I think that the lighthouse business has to consistently always, regardless of where they are in a cycle, never give up on, an old prospect or old talent. Like talent that you were pursuing that said no to you because they took some other job. Like just because they said no to you doesn't mean no, not never. Like that's an old cliche, but it holds true. Right? And if you're going to be a business that's committed to growth, you need to relentlessly pursue this, this relationship and bringing value to them at all times. And, just because they said no to you last week or last month, what you want to do is make sure that the moment that they have a thread of discontent, you're the first person that's on their mind, right? So when it's somebody that you want to add to your organization that maybe it wasn't a good timing for them or whatever the case is, the moment that they're considered some other opportunity, you want to be the first person they think of. And as a salesperson, the same thing holds true. One of the most demoralizing things I think that happens in prospecting and sales is you look at a lead and you've called them 15 times and you've sent them things and you've emailed them and they keep just ignoring you or rejecting you. And I gotta encourage you to continue on, right? Because each step consistently gets you closer and closer to a yes. And the big mistake, the big error is that you give up. Right? Now, there's a difference between being professionally persistent and being a stalker. Like you have to not traverse that line where you're perceived as, where there's gonna be a restraining order filed against you. And the difference is value. Right? If you don't bring value, if you're just nagging somebody, then you become an annoyance. But when you bring value all the time with each interaction, like, hey, I saw this article, it made me think of you. You retweet their content, you like what they push out there, you share different ideas or concepts that can help them achieve their objectives. When you're doing that as a business, as a professional, as a sales professional, now all of a sudden the relationship is expanding. The more you realize that you have to bring value in the equation, the closer you are on that journey towards actually becoming that lighthouse, where your mission exceeds beyond what people's perception is, right? The brightness of your mission is going to attract talent and clients to what you're trying to accomplish. And that's not about transaction. It's not about them saying yes today. It's about at some time in the future, when the brightness of your mission reaches them, they have to be searching for that harbor. Some of them are going to happen on your mission by happenstance, but the moment they begin looking for your light, right? That's when that's when all of that effort, that's when everything that you've done up until then is paid off. And I see people all the time give up on talent, right? They give up on somebody. Oh, that person said no to me, they weren't interested. An old resume isn't a bad resume, right? An old prospect isn't a bad prospect. It just meant that the timing wasn't right before. And if you do it right, if you are able to articulate what value you bring, the minute somebody else disappoints them, the minute someone else lets them down, there's your opportunity. But you can't give up. You got to keep going after it. And if you go after it, ultimately you're going to win. You're going to win disproportionately compared to everybody else who gives up. And you got to have the appetite to stick with it.